According to some juicy reporting from Politico's Jonathan Martin, House Republicans are secretly saying that Elon Musk, not good, very bad, dragging the party down. In fact, they're so frustrated with him that they're actually rooting for losses in upcoming special elections so that the GOP will essentially kick him to the curb. Now, Musk has been out there campaigning in the contentious Wisconsin Supreme Court race. I mean, just think about that. He's like super fired up about a state's Supreme Court. He even handed out $1 million checks on Sunday night to 2 voters who had already cast their ballots for the Republican in the race in appreciation for you taking the time to vote. That was his justification for giving them $1 million checks. Now, I don't want to get like sidetracked with a is that even legal argument. I get that he gave them the money after they voted, but doesn't that essentially encourage other people to vote the way Elon Musk wants them to vote, hoping that they'll get the money?
Of course it does. But look, the judges and justices in this country love bribery so much. They even recently had a Supreme Court decision where they said you could bribe people like legislators after they vote, right? Because then it'll be considered a gratuity, like a tip. Oh, way to support my business. Here's a tip. I can give you money directly to you, right? It's insane. It's insane. So if they allow Musk to get away with this,
they will,
which they probably will, given their track record, then every billionaire is going to be like, all right, vote with me, and then some of you get a lottery ticket afterwards and get $1 million. So I'm just going to buy all these elections. They used to buy them by just giving to politicians, which they're still doing, and Musk is doing in this case. But now he's trying to buy the voters as well. So it's like, if you like Musk and you think, oh, it's okay, wait till Soros starts doing it. And what if a bunch of left-wing billionaires teamed up and they're like, all right, why don't we just buy the elections in Alabama and Mississippi? Okay, why don't we buy it anywhere we like? And if you think, oh, no, people in the red states won't be swayed by money, I don't think you've met human beings.
Right. So according to Martin from Politico, the reporter who broke this story, a pair of House Republicans, both of whom represent districts full of suburbanites, told me they're hoping Musk will soon start heading for the exits. An April 1st massacre would be a beautiful thing, said one of the GOP lawmakers, because it would rouse congressional Republicans to the damage Musk is doing and hand political capital to the lawmakers facing the most difficult races next year. So referring to those vulnerable lawmakers, the House Republicans said this, quote, there will be 26 or so people watching Tuesday, and they'll decide how they want to be part of the team going forward. The GOP lawmakers, this member said, grasp the political damage Musk is doing because the crap he puts up on the internet about government spending or savings is wrong. But when it relates to their districts, it gets picked up by both their MAGA base and local media outlets, angering different blocks of voters. I knew this was gonna happen. Okay, so there's a few things I wanna just quickly say before I continue. No, one main thing. I can't stand the cowardice of these lawmakers, right? Because they're plotting against Musk. They're hoping that Musk is ousted from the Trump administration, that he falls out of favor among Republicans, and they have a legitimate reason why they want that. But they just don't want to deal with any backlash, so they just give these comments to reporters anonymously. Like, grow a set and just come out and tell the truth. Talk about the damage that's being done in some of these more difficult congressional races where Republicans are currently holding seats but could very easily get voted out.
Yeah, so let me double down on what you're saying and then get to some of the important stuff about the elections tonight. So look, I give Rand Paul credit because the other day he came out and said, I just think Trump is wrong on tariffs. And I think here's what tariffs are gonna do. I think they're gonna damage my state, they're gonna damage the economy, I don't agree. Okay, someone with a little bit of a spine. Plus, I think Rand Paul has figured out, wait, there's now libertarian media, which didn't even exist before, right? There's Dave Smith, there's a whole bunch of others. Like, so if I do my thing, I might actually get some backup here, which before he wouldn't have gotten any backup if he dared to cross the Republican leader, Fox News would have obliterated him, right? So, okay, that's a positive thing. But overall, it's amazing how the cowardice of politicians.
Yep.
So do you know how much credit a Republican congressman would get right now if they were like, no, here's what I think, here's what I'm insisting on, here's what I believe, okay? And by the way, my position is more right-wing or more conservative, et cetera. How do I know that that'll succeed? It already has. His name is Tom Massey.
Right?
Good
point.
And so Massey does it all the time. He's Dr. No, and he's developed this reputation as a person who's principled because he actually is principled. Now, I don't agree with him on what he says no to, but at least I believe him, right? And he's honest, and that's a huge difference. And by the way, the right wing loves Tom Massey. And Trump tried to mess with Massey, and it didn't work.
Like, I know, yeah.
Because Tom Massey's also not bowing his head to Israel, and it's driving Trump and everyone else in Washington crazy. And then he defied Trump on another vote, and Trump was like, this loser from Kentucky, and people were like, I don't think so, brother.
Yeah.
I think you're hurting yourself more than you're hurting Massey. And then he had to backpedal out of there.
Yeah, he was against the budget blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, look, I agree with you. For me, at this point, with all of these cowardly politicians, what I tend to respect the most is when a politician has principles and acts on those principles and does it courageously, even if I disagree with them. Because you can't really have a functioning democracy if you have a bunch of, easily corrupted cowards running around and like leaking things to the media, hiding in the shadows. I'm afraid of backlash. You guys are losers, like total losers.
Yeah, and if you're on the left or you're in the middle and you don't concede that Tom Massey is honest, well, you're gonna lose credibility, not him, right? So it's okay to say, hey, I totally disagree with that guy, but at least he's being honest, which the right wing often says about Bernie Sanders, right? So God bless. Now look, the elections tonight are so important because it's the Wisconsin Supreme Court, number one, that could affect abortion rights in Wisconsin, but most importantly for how the nation is thinking about it politically, it's a very important swing state, super important. So who's got the momentum now 70 some odd days into Trump's administration? Is it working, not working? And then by the way, it also could affect gerrymandering down the road and the districts in Wisconsin, which could be absolutely critical. And then you got 2 open House seats in Florida because they went into Trump's team. And so now they gotta have those elections. And so, but to me, the most amazing part of this story is Republicans telling reporters, God, I hope we get slaughtered.
I know,
because that'll at least give us enough courage to maybe tweak our top donor who's clearly running the country right now.
So the other House Republicans said that the White House needs to just declare victory and usher Musk out. Their quote was, Elon's work needs to wrap up and he needs to exit the stage. And by the way, they're not wrong in being a little worried about what Elon Musk is, how he's coming across to Republican voters. So polling suggests that these concerned Republicans are right to think that Musk is a drag on the party. So let's take a look at this graphic, and you're gonna see the latest AP NORC survey, and in it, Musk clearly has a lower favorability rating than Donald Trump does, with both independents and Republicans. So 83% of Republicans approve of Donald Trump compared to only 69% for Elon Musk. Overall, Trump's favorability rating is 42% compared to Elon Musk's 36%.
Look, stay on there for a second. To me, the most important number, and the one you guys should always look at, is independents. So that's 34 to 56 for Trump is bad news for Trump. That's gonna catch up with him. That's the same exact thing I said about Biden a year and a half before the election. You can't get that low with independents without it hurting you, right? And doing serious damage. Look at Elon Musk on independents, 28%. That is disaster territory.
Yeah.
So once he loses the Republicans, then he's got no one left. But those are really bad numbers when you're at 28 with independents and 36 overall. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.